indicators of our collective action and the lives of our families are largely based on religious values. One of these values is hospitality, which is a cardinal value shared by all our families and individuals. Unfortunately, we must note that in the last 3 decades, this hospitality that characterizes us has been determined by enemies of peace and terrorist groups, especially from neighboring countries. This misfortune has made part of our territory, which has been plagued by violence for almost 3 decades, an area, in addition to armed groups, foreign powers eager for the minerals of our subsoil. These commit cruel atrocities with the direct and close support of our neighbor Rwanda, making security the first and greatest challenge for the government. Indeed, thanks to the inaction and the silence of the international community, more than 10 million people have already been atrociously snatched from their lives. Innocent women, including pregnant ones, are being raped and disemboweled. Young people and children have their throats slit. Families, the elderly, and children are condemned to brave fatigue and exhaustion to move away from their homes in search of peace because of the exactions committed by these terrorists in the service of foreign interests. We cannot remain silent in the face of this injustice and this complicity silence of the international community. In this regard, you should know that I did not fail to name and challenge during my last speech at the United Nations on behalf of all Congolese, those responsible for these tragedies, and to confront them with their responsibilities. Let us also be assured that the Democratic Republic of Congo is and will continue to assume its responsibilities, particularly that of defending the integrity of its territory with the help of its people. Indeed, despite these worrisome security situations, Indeed, despite these worrisome security situations, the patriotism and the determination of the Congolese people in defense of their homeland is their strength. Know, Your Holiness, that the Congolese people remain and will remain a great people, a united and strong people in the face of any threat to the integrity of their territory and the survival of their nation. In this regard, I'm pleased by your willingness to receive a delegation from this martyred population of the east of our country, which I am convinced will allow you to grasp this unprecedented resilience that today more than ever defines and characterizes us as a nation. Moreover, beyond the diversity of their religious beliefs, these populations remain sensitive to your presence on Congolese soil and the echo of your pastoral visit, as well as your prayer on the land of our ancestors, will bring them great comfort. Therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of the entire Congolese people for the interest you have always shown in the security situation of our country, praying fervently for peace in eastern part of our country. Holiness. The second challenge of government here is the economy in relation to the values of sharing, equity, responsibility. I'm convinced that these values embodied in our collective action as citizens and political leaders can serve as the basis for building a more just and humane society. Indeed, with its rich and economic potential, the Democratic Republic of Congo contains in its subsoil most of the minerals resources the world needs today to ensure ecological transition and environmental protection. Described as a geological scandal because of the magnitude of its wealth and mineral potential, the fact remains that to date, this immense potential is not benefiting the Congolese. Our responsibility is to leave no one on the sidelines of the road to economic development, working together for the collective road to economic development, working together with the collective good with the goal of reducing, if not eliminating, poverty.
En rendant effectif le principe pourtant constitutionnel de la gratuité de l'enseignement de base, non appliqué durant de nombreuses années. Le bénéfice de cette décision courageuse et posée est indéniable pour l'avenir de nos enfants et l'édification du Congo de demain. C'est ici l'occasion pour moi de rendre un hommage mérité à l'Église catholique en République
This
démocratique.
is an opportunity to pay a well-deserved tribute to the Catholic Church in the Democratic Republic of Congo for the services it has rendered in this area. Indeed, successive governments have always maintained and consolidated their partnership with the Church and the Catholic Church in particular to ensure upstream education and the management of educational and hospital infrastructure in order to meet basic social needs, particularly in the areas of education and health. However, to sustain the efforts made, it has proven necessary to adapt economic and financial resources to the challenges of a demographic change and population density. It is with this in mind that we encourage and call for mutually beneficial partnerships in the exploitation of our wealth so that it contributes to increasing job opportunities and improving the living conditions of our people. At the same time, we work vigorously to combat corruption and capital flight so that these resources truly serve the interests of all. Holy Father, the third major challenge is that of environmental protection. Indeed, with regard to this challenge, the government of the Republic and myself share the values defended in your encyclical Laudato Si, published in 2015. One of the main challenges facing humanity today, namely the fight against global warming. I'm glad that the fight against climate change is your workhorse, but the Democratic Republic of Congo and its government are very sensitive to the agency and the responsibility of humanity in building the future of the planet and protection of our common home.
À l'intérieur du pays,
Within the country, protecting the environment is part of our responsibility in opening the country to fossil fuel and resource exploitation. Therefore, all contracts entered into with partners who intend to exploit our natural resources cannot be regularly concluded without a serious and prior study of the environmental impact of the project to be implemented. In addition, the government pays special attention to the protection of the biodiversity in natural parks scattered throughout the territory where rare species important to the balance of this biodiversity still suffer from insecurity and where animals, including endangered ones, are also victims of barbarism by the armed groups. These are the main challenges among many of our country, which, with the determination of our people and their support, we will not fail to address.
Dans ce contexte de la récession économique consécutive à la crise post-Covid et au conflit armé en Ukraine, ce choix judicieux permettra sur le long terme à notre économie d'amortir durablement le choc lié à ces crises et de permettre à notre peuple de tirer enfin avantage des richesses de son sous-sol. En tout état de cause, les membres du gouvernement de la République et moi-même n'arrêtons pas de réitérer cet engagement tel que ce fut le cas au cours de la 26e conférence des partis à la Convention des Nations Unies sur le changement climatique, la COP26, où nous avons présenté la République démocratique du Congo à la face du monde comme pays solution à la crise climatique et la lutte contre les changements climatiques. En effet, notre pays dispose de 165 millions d'hectares de forêt, deuxième plus grande forêt tropicale du monde, une grande réserve.
With this motive for the biodiversity,
La première au monde capable d'absorber près de 1,2 milliard de tonnes de dioxyde de carbone par an. C'est pourquoi, pour mieux protéger nos forêts, nous avons toujours milité pour une justice climatique afin que les plus grands pollueurs qui sont à la base de la destruction de l'environnement versent des compensations aux gardiens de la planète que nous sommes. Ces compensations pourraient nous permettre de renforcer nos capacités dans la poursuite et la réalisation d'investissements innovants ainsi que dans le développement d'infrastructures dans les énergies renouvelables et la gestion des déchets. Enfin, je suis fermement convaincu que l'éloignement des menaces sécuritaires dans notre pays contribuera à coup sûr à l'efficacité de la lutte contre les changements climatiques et la protection de l'environnement. Sa sainteté. Tels sont les principaux défis, parmi tant d'autres, de notre pays, qu'avec la détermination de son peuple.
These are the main challenges, Your Holiness, among many of our countries, among many in our country, which with your determination of its people and their support will not fail to address. Your pastoral visit will surely help to strengthen this determination, and our people are ready to welcome your message of peace, hope, comfort, and strengthening, as well as brotherhood and sisterhood. These are the. I would like to conclude my remarks by wishing you, on behalf of all our people, a pleasant pastoral stay in the Democratic Republic of Congo. You are welcome, as we say in our national languages, Bomaye Bolamu, Tifika Dilenga. Many thanks. The President of the Republic of Congo there speaking to the Holy Father in his address. Apologies, we had some short breakup and hiccups in the speech there. But in the main, the President was sharing with the Holy Father some of the challenges the country is facing and what the government is doing, the government of the Republic of Congo. And now the Holy Father will address the authorities, civil society, and members of the diplomatic corps who are gathered here in the Garden of the Flies de la Nation. Mr. President, honorable members of government and the diplomatic corps, eminent religious and civil authorities, distinguished representatives of civil society and the world of culture, ladies and gentlemen, I offer you cordial greetings and I thank His Excellency the President for his kind words. I am happy to be here in this beautiful, vast and luxuriant land which embraces to the north the equatorial forest In the center and towards the south, plateaus and wooded savannas. To the east, hills, mountains, volcanoes, and lakes. To the west, other great bodies of water, with the Congo River that flows into the ocean. In your country, which is like a continent itself within the greater continent of Africa, it seems that the entire earth breathes. Yet, if the geography of this land is so rich and varied, the history, its history has not been comparably blessed. Torn by war, the Democratic Republic of Congo continues to witness within its confines conflicts and forced migrations, and to suffer from the terrible forms of exploitation unworthy of humanity and creation. This country, so immense and full of life, this diaphragm of Africa, struck by the violence like a blow to the stomach, has seemed for some time to be grasping for breath. The president spoke about this forgotten genocide which the Democratic of Congo is suffering from. As you, the Congolese people, fight to preserve your dignity and your territorial integrity against deplorable attempts to fragment the country, I come to you in the name of Jesus as a pilgrim of reconciliation and of peace. I have greatly desired to be here, and now at last I have come to bring you the closeness and the affection and the consolation of the entire Catholic Church. And, and to learn from you your courage and struggle. I would also like to speak to you using an image that nicely symbolizes the luminous beauty of this land. It is that of diamond. Dear women and men of Congo, your country is truly a diamond of creation. At the same time, you of all are infinitely more precious than any treasures found in this fruitful soil. I'm here to embrace you and to remind you that yourselves are of inestimable worth, and that the Church and the Pope has confidence in you, and that they believe in your future, a future that is in your hands and of which you deserve to devote all your gifts and intelligence, wisdom, and industry. Take heart, my Congolese brothers and sisters. Arise, take once more into your hands, like a pure diamond, all that you are, your dignity and your calling to preserve in harmony the peace of this home in which you dwell. Revive the spirit of your nation, national hymn, dreaming and putting into practice its message. Through hard work, we will build a country more beautiful than before. Dear friends, diamonds are usually rare, yet they are abundant. If that is true of the material wealth hidden in the soil, it is even more true that the spiritual wealth present within your hearts, for it is from these hearts that peace and development are born, because with God's help, men and women are capable of justice and of forgiveness, of concord and reconciliation, of commitment and perseverance. Here at the beginning of my journey, I want to appeal to you. May every Congolese feel called to do his or her part. May violence and hatred no longer find room in the heart or on the lips of anyone, since these are inhuman and unchristian sentiments that arrest development and bring us back to a gloomy past. In the light of arrested development and regression to the past, it is a tragedy that these lands, and more generally the whole African continent, continue to endure various forms of exploitation. There is that motto from many people who think that Africa is there for exploitation. That political exploitation gave way to economic colonialism that was equally enslaving. As a result, this country, massively plundered, has not benefited adequately from its immense resources. Paradoxically, the richness of its land have made it foreign to its very inhabitants. The poison of greed has smeared its diamond with blood. This is a tragedy to which the economically more advanced world often closes its eyes, ears, and mouth. Yet this country and this continent deserve to be respected and listened to. They deserve to find space and receive attention. Hands off the Democratic Republic of Congo. Hands off Africa. Stop choking Africa. Africa is not a mine to be stripped or a terrain to be plundered. May Africa be the protagonist of its own destiny. May the world acknowledge the catastrophic things that were done over the centuries to the detriment of the local peoples and not forget this country and this continent. May Africa, the smile and hope of the world, count for more. May it be spoken of more frequently and have greater weight and prestige among nations. Room needs to be made for the diplomacy that is authentically human, for a diplomacy that people are concerned for other people, for a diplomacy centered not on control over land and resources, expansionism and increased profits, but rather on providing opportunities for people to grow and develop. In this case of these people, one has the impression that the international community has practically resigned itself to the violence devouring it. We cannot grow accustomed to the bloodshed that has marked the country for decades, causing millions of deaths that remains mostly unknown elsewhere. What is happening here needs to be known. The current peace process, which I greatly encourage, need to be sustained by concrete deeds and commitments should be maintained. Thank God there are those who are contributing to the good of the local population and to a genuine development through successful projects, not merely through handouts, but through projects aimed at an integral development. I express immense gratitude to the countries and organizations that are providing substantial aid in this regard, helping to combat poverty and disease, supporting the rule of law, and promoting respect for human rights. It is my hope that they can continue to carry out these efforts courageously to the full. Let us go back to the image of the diamond. Once polished, the diamond, its beauty derives from its shape, from the harmonious arrangement of its many facets. In the same way, this country, with its precious legacy of pluralism, has a polyhedral character. That richness must be preserved, avoiding any form of regression to the tribalism and hostility. A partisan spirit that stubbornly promotes one's own ethnic group or particular interests, thus nurturing spiral of hatred and violence, is detrimental to everyone, since it blocks the necessary chemistry of the whole. Indeed, from a chemical standpoint, it is interesting that diamonds are made up of simple atoms of carbon, which, if differently bonded, form graphite. In effect, the difference between the brilliance of the diamond and the darkness of graphite comes from the way the individual atoms are arranged within the crystalline network. Leaving aside the metaphor, the problem is not of human nature or the nature of ethnic and social groups, but the way in which they choose to live together. Their willingness or not to engage one another, to be reconciled, and to start anew makes the difference between the grimness of conflict and the radiant future of people and prosperity. Dear friends, our Heavenly Father wants us to accept one another as brothers and sisters of a single family and to work together for a future together with others and not against others. Bintu Mantu. Thus, one of your proverbs eloquently states that true wealth is found in people and in their relationships with one another. In particular way, the religions with their patrimony of wisdom are called to contribute to this richness in the daily efforts to renounce every form of aggression, proselytism, and constraint, for these are means unworthy of human freedom. When people stoop to imposing those means through deceit and force in an indiscriminate attempt to collect followers, they severely wound the conscience of others and turn their backs on the true God. Because let us never be forgotten, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. In the effort to build a future of peace and fraternity, the members of civil society, some of whom are here present, also have an essential role to play. Often they have demonstrated the ability to stand up to injustices and social decay at the cost of great sacrifice in order to defend human rights. They have the ability of quality education and more particularly to the young people of this country who have suffered in various degrees for this, and I pay them homage. The diamond, in its transparency, marvelously reflects the light it receives. Many of you are similarly illustrious for the role you play in society. Those holding civil and government office are called to operate with crystalline clarity, experiencing the charge that they have received as a means of serving society. Power is meaningful only if it becomes a form of service. How important it is that civic responsibilities be carried out in this spirit, avoiding authoritarianism, the quest to quick profit, and the greed that the Apostle Paul defines as the root of all evils. Likewise, that free, transparent, and credible elections be promoted, even greater participation in the peace processes be allowed to women, to young people, and to socially marginalized groups, that the common good and all people security be pursued rather than personal or group interests, that the presence of the state in every part of the territory be strengthened, and the many refugees would not be displaced person but will be cared for. May no one be manipulated, much less bought by those who would foment violence to the country and exploit it in order to make shameful business deals. This leads only to discredit and disgrace, together with death and misery. It is better to stay close to people, be aware of how they live. People are trusting when they feel the closeness of those who govern them, not out of expedience or for show, but to serve others. What dims the light of goodness in a society is often the darkness of injustice and corruption. Centuries ago, St. Augustine, who was born on this continent, asked, if there is no respect for justice, what are states if not great confederacy of thieves? God is always on the side of those who hunger for thirst and those who hunger for justice. One must never tire of promoting law and equity everywhere, combating impunity and the manipulation of laws and misinformation. A diamond emerges from the earth valuable but rough, needing to be polished. The most precious diamonds of these lands are the sons and daughters of this nation. They need to have access to an education that enables them to make their innate talents shine brilliantly. Education is fundamental. It is the path to the future, the road to take for achieving the complete freedom of this country and of the African continent. It is urgent to invest in education in order to prepare societies that will be unified only if they are educated well, autonomous only if they are aware of their own possibilities and are capable of developing them with responsibility and perseverance. Yet many children receive no schooling. How many of them? Indeed, instead of receiving a good education, they are exploited. All too many of them die subject to servile labor in the mines. No effort should be spared to denounce and finally end the scourge of child labor. How many girls are marginalized and their dignity violated? Children, young girls, and all young people represent hope for the future. Let us not allow the hope be stifled, but indeed cultivate it with passion. The diamond, as a gift of the earth, recalls our responsibility to be good stewards of creation, to protect the natural environment. Situated in the heart of Africa, the Democratic Republic of Congo is host to one of the great green lungs of the world, which must be preserved. As with peace and development, also in this area, there needs to be an ample and fruitful cooperation that can permit effective intervention without imposing external models that are more useful to those who help than to those who are helped. Many have offered Africa help in their effort to combat climate change and the coronavirus. While these are certainly opportunities to be welcomed, the greatest need is for health care and social models that do not simply respond to pressing needs of the moment, but help improve the life of society through sound structures and honest and competent personnel so as to overcome the grave problems that block development from the outsets like hunger and malaria. The diamond, to conclude, is the hardest of the minerals found in nature. It is highly resistant to chemical agents. Repeated violent attacks, so many situations of unrest could weaken the resistance of the Congolese people, undermine their resolve to lead them to discouragement and resignation. Yet, in the name of Christ, who is the God of hope, the God of every possibility, who always gives us the strength to begin anew, in the name of the dignity and wealth of the most precious diamonds of this splendid land, which are its citizens, I would like to encourage everyone to undertake a courageous and inclusive social renewal. This is demanded by the splendid yet wounded history of this country and by its young people and children in particular. I stand with you and I accompany you with my prayers and closeness every effort made to achieve a peaceful, harmonious, and prosperous future for this great country. God bless the entire Congolese nation.
Ainsi prend fin la rencontre du souverain pontife avec
A speech like probably none we have heard from Pope Francis in a long and really not mincing any words as he denounces the exploitation of this country, the exploitation